Hey, what is going on, crypto people? It is the Crypto Siege with another day in the life and the crazy life that is the digital asset space. Good freaking evening and happy Thursday to each and every one of you. What's going on with Ripple and Federated Sidechains? Ripple drop. We're going to go over that. We're going to share a little bit of that with you guys tonight as well. I hope you're excited. I hope you're still excited about being an early adopter in this new asset class that is the digital asset space. Man, what an amazing time to be alive. It's just an amazing time to be alive. Forgive me, I did not get a chance to do Wealth Wednesday, Generational Wealth Wednesday yesterday. I wanted to talk about the health savings account and why I find it to be a very viable financial product in the old financial system. Yeah, the three-prong attack to taxes, really like it, but more importantly, if you can get that somehow to be able to invest and take advantages of some of the things it offers. I thought it was really an interesting thing. We'll talk about that a little bit tonight as well, but more importantly, we're definitely going to hop into this Ripple drop with David Schwartz. It was really good. I only got to listen to about the first 5 minutes of it. David was doing his thing for sure. It's really cool. So guys, I appreciate you being here tonight. We're going to go over that. I was looking into Fidelity's HSA as well, their health savings account. Because I have both accounts, two brokerages account and Fidelity and TD Ameritrade. And so interesting. So yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the HSA, see if you guys have any. Have you ever thought about it and why I'm looking at it as well. And the reason why I'm doing it for sure is because it has an extra benefit, just like our other financial instrument has an extra benefit, right? For sure. So what's going on, GDLT? Good to see you, my friend. Blessings to you, TMOK Limited. Great to see you. Alex Wright's in the building. It's a good day. Dan Robb is in the building. What's up, brother? The Crypto Caveman. How are you, my friend? It is great to see each and every one of you tonight for sure. Hello, OE312. What's good, my friends? Great to see you. So listen, yeah, I know some football going on tonight, huh? Apparently there's some football going on tonight. I guess that's preseason stuff, huh? Cowboys. Yeah, that's no wonder I don't hear anything going on in the streets right now. Everybody's watching them Cowboys out here in Texas. I would imagine. I think it's preseason though, right? Preseason stuff on a Thursday. So that is interesting as well. The market is doing what the market does. As we like to say, is it over 40 grand? Well, how about that? It's over 40 today. What is today? Thursday. Yeah, so it's going to be kind of doing that 39, 40, 38, 40. Looks like it's going to be doing that for a bit. We'll go over those numbers as well. Let me say hey to the family, and then we'll hop on the bridge for sure. So interesting stuff, man. HSAs. Are you guys familiar with these health savings account? The thing about the HSA is you have to have a high deductible plan, health insurance plan. And so health savings account, mix is what the HSA is. Health savings account, different than the flexible spending account, which I've had in the past as well. But yeah, so it's a little different. Let me turn this phone off. Than the FSA, the flexible spending account. So yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit. If you guys are familiar with it, please let me know in the chat that you're familiar with the health savings account. It is generally, you have to be eligible, you have to have one of those health high deductible insurance plans, HDCPs. You have to have one of those high deductible plans to get an HSA, and you can attach it to a brokerage account as well, which is really cool. I know a lot of people attach it to the Fidelity account, but I'm going to go over it and share some videos with you guys about that as well, for sure. So listen, the market's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of doing what it is doing. We've been so busy with the house stuff, and every time we turn around, we got another person coming in and doing another thing. Or yeah, interesting stuff. We were all on the smart home thing today, and we'll be continuing with that tomorrow. So yeah, very, very interesting for sure. Very, very interesting. I had a guy here for over 2 hours doing some stuff. So good to see each and every one of you. Mix. I appreciate you being here, my friend. Mark Splice, great to see you, brother. Great to see you as always. Listen, DeFi is the future. And are you participating? Are you participating? So before we get into it, before we get into all the things that I want to share with you guys, let me do this here. Let me go over here, make sure this is set up. We will share, of course. We'll share this stream. I don't know. I still feel like, it's October, that we're all waiting, kind of to really get to see that beginning of what this market can really do. Yeah, I know that's not encouraging, right? But it still feels like to me October is when we'll be, really beginning to get excited. That's what it's feeling like. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to get this set up, and then we're going to share the stream. Did I see somebody say they have an HSA, a health savings account? Trevor LeConte, what's good, brother? Great to see you. Driving home. Be safe, bro. Be safe on those roads, man. Yeah, I'm learning more and more about this area here. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. I forgot about Baylor University and the University of Texas. I forgot all about that. And apparently high school football is just crazy here in Texas. I mean, like crazy. Like they have stadiums in the high schools, stadiums for high schools. Is that not crazy? That is really, really crazy. All right. So before we get into the numbers and the HSA and the Ripple drop, let's hop on that bridge. Let's go. Shout out to BC Backer. Shout out to my guy, DIY Investing. What are you going to walk away with into the stable coins? 10,000, 100,000, 500,000, a million, 2 million. That's that foundation. It's the foundation for generational wealth. We are so blessed. David Schwartz on the Ripple drop. What? Life is good. Eric Jenkins, like XRP holders getting all these airdrops. No doubt, bro. No doubt. Life is good. Life is good. Oh, you live north of Houston. Thank you, Eric. Thank you. Yeah, I know. We're just a couple hours from Houston, and maybe 2.5 from Houston, Dallas. Crazy. Yeah, Cowboy games. When the NFC East comes into town. Oh, man. What's going on, Larry Roberson? Good to see you, bro. Texas as well, huh? Houston. Love it. I have family in Houston. Big time. Life is good. It really, really is. We're early adopters. We're playing a game that 99.99% of the masses don't even know is being played. And we are winning. We are winning. I gotta tell you. Uh-oh. Check the mic and make sure it sounds. We are winning for sure. Dr. B, you're welcome. Yeah, absolutely. Yep, you certainly can. Certainly can. You can link it, attach it to one of your brokerage account, depending on kind of how things your employer has things set up. But yeah, check with your brokerage and see how you can do it. The guy I talked with today was a little like, well, yeah, it would be two separate ones. I'm like, nah, I don't think it's two separate ones, right? So you have to check with your employer. Hope they're comfortable and familiar with it. A lot of people didn't know that you can do that, and it's basically the money you have coming out, and you should be able to direct it. A lot of times where you want it to go, but a lot of times they have that kind of a contract. But the contract, in today's world is you have options, right? You definitely have options. So I like Fidelity for a number of reasons, but definitely like their card where you get 2% back. That is phenomenal. Really, really like that. And yeah, they have an HSA there as well. And it's very odd because if you have the high deductible thing, you should be able to just go directly with Fidelity, for example, and just set it up, right? Just have the money coming out. What makes it qualifying is that you have that particular health plan. If you have that high deductible health plan, then you should be able to hook that right up. Do you know tax? Yeah, there are no taxes. So it's a three-pronged tax approach. So it's tax-free, right? Tax-free going in, tax-free in the middle, tax-free coming out. If you use that money for health issues, right? It's for health qualifying health stuff. But what the thing I do like about it is the reimbursement part of it is really, really cool. You can take, first of all, the money that you save rolls over, unlike a flexible spending account that is kind of use it or lose it for that year. HSA rolls over. So it goes from year to year to year to year. And then if you want to, if you want reimbursement for whatever you might spend in any particular year, you spend $500 in expenses that you used you come out of your pocket for, which I would be doing, coming out of my pocket for $500 of expenses in 2021, right? As long as I got the receipts and all that stuff, I can wait till 2023, right? Right? I can wait till 2024 when that money's had time to compound, right? Because you earn interest on it. So it's a really, really cool deal. Really, really is. So the cards are available from Uphold, huh? Interesting. Got the Coinbase card, Mark. You got the Uphold card, and Celsius is coming out with a card Q3. So I'm waiting on that one to see what that is going to look like for sure. I'm glad you got your card, bro. Dr. B says that is awesome. Yeah, it's really, really cool. A lot of people don't even know. Like a lot of people use the health savings account for the health, for the health saving on paying for the stuff that you get. And it's so many things you can use it for. Prescriptions, it's a lot of stuff you can use it for. But you don't have to, right? You can just save up, right? A lot of people can just use it to save up for, in their later part of the years, 50s, 60s, 70s, got all that money saved, and then you can use it if you want, right? So I really do like the options. What's going on, Crypto Rogers? Great to see you. Guys, let's take a listen to David Schwartz. I got to tell you, this dude is smart. He's going to talk about the Federated Sidechains. And we said on this channel, it felt like those Federated Sidechains was like the answer to what Flare Network was doing. And it really sounds like it when you hear him talk about these things you can do with these Federated Sidechains. It really does. Let's take a listen to this recent Ripple drop with David Schwartz.
Hey, I'm Reinhard Kate, and welcome to episode 23 of the Ripple Drop. First up, we've got our most frequent guest, Ripple CTO David Schwartz, who's going to talk to you about NFTs and federated sidechains on the XRP ledger. Then we've got Ripple's Senior Manager for Diversity and Inclusion, Alison Crawford, who's
I
going to
hope
talk
I don't
about
get a
the company's
copyright
efforts
for
there. And last
Ripple
but
music.
not
I
least,
shouldn't
we're
probably get
joined
it.
by Ripple's
Hopefully I didn't
Managing
get it.
Director for Southeast Asia,
Probably won't.
Entwistle, who's going to talk about Ripple's global
But I want to make
momentum.
sure I don't get the
Let's get
copyright
to
strike for
begin,
doing it.
David.
Hopefully
what is
not.
an NFT, and
Hopefully
what kind
not.
of impact do you think NFTs will have on the industry?
An NFT, it stands for non-fungible token, and it's a token that means something that you can mint, buy, sell, trade, hold, that represents something unique in the real world. Like it could be even a physical object or a work of art. The use case we're seeing for NFTs today is mostly around collectibles, and that's certainly a big and important use case, and I don't want to take away from it, but I think that there are a lot of potential future use cases. A lot of us have sort of bundles of digital rights, like movies or songs that we purchase, books that you may have for a Kindle, and they're typically tied to services that have monthly fees or that we may want to leave. And so there's an interesting future use case of allowing people to sort of be their own custodians of their digital rights.
So you've mentioned prior that not every blockchain can support NFTs. What do you mean by that?
When you want to trade with an NFT, you want to create an NFT, you have issues involving things like transaction costs, transaction speed, and also just whether the blockchain has the capability to provide special functions like giving a cut of future sales to the originator of the NFT. But I think the big one is just the reliability, particularly transaction fees. Like just to give an example, Ethereum has shown wide variability in its transaction fees, sometimes being very high, sometimes being very low. It's not a good customer experience if sometimes it's very difficult to trade an NFT and sometimes it's very easy to.
David, how is the XRP ledger uniquely suited to enable NFT use?
I think it has a number of features that make it very, very desirable for NFTs. For one thing, it has the low cost and high speed that many sort of special purpose ledgers have, ledgers that are built just for NFTs. But it also has XRP, which is a digital asset that has great liquidity, directly available on the ledger. So you don't have to go to some other ledger to make the payment. The combination of really good payments with all the features necessary to support an NFT infrastructure, I think is unique.
What kind of work is being done on the XRP ledger to make it an even better platform for NFTs?
Yeah, there was a proposal that I authored that we've gotten feedback from the community on that makes more features for NFTs. And in particular, it makes it easier to produce large numbers of NFTs and makes them more scalable. I think we don't know what the level of NFT usage is going to be, but there are definitely like artists who've talked about like throwing NFTs out to the crowd at a concert. And if you want to scale to that level, it can't cost $100 to mint an NFT, or it can't take a minute. You need that level of scalability.
Let's shift gears slightly. You've recently authored a blog proposal on Federated Sidechains as a new proposal for the XRP ledger. Could you kind of explain what a Federated Sidechain is, and really how is that going to benefit the XRP ledger?
A federated sidechain is a blockchain that operates sort of alongside another blockchain. So it has its own accounts, it can have its own transactions, it has its own transaction fee structure, and so it can have different rules from the main ledger. And the idea would be that you could move assets from the main chain to the federated sidechain, transact those assets on the federated sidechain, and then at some point sort of mirror those results back to the main chain.
What kind of impact and sort of improvement would that have for the XRP ledger as a whole?
I think there are three big areas where it makes a difference. So one of them is just horizontal scalability. The XRP ledger can handle well over 1,000 transactions per second, but that's a finite limit. And if you're imagining future use cases, millions of NFTs or something, you can exceed that limit because each federated sidechain has its own transaction volume. Another one is just the use cases. Like there's little to no support for DeFi on the XRP ledger. You could have a sidechain to the XRP ledger, but you could have the same assets and you would have access to DeFi functions. And the last one is if some of the limitations of the XRP ledger are affecting you. So the XRP ledger has an account reserve, which means it costs a certain amount of money that you have to have available to create an account. A sidechain could have a different reserve or no reserve. So it allows you to work around limitations that might affect particular use cases.
One of the more popular proposals on the XRP ledger is hooks. That would enable smart contracts on the XRP ledger. How could federated sidechains interact with hooks?
The federated sidechain feature will be tremendously useful for developers who are developing features like hooks that they want as candidates for inclusion in the main chain. Today, without federated sidechains, when you develop a new feature, it's very hard to make the case that it should be included in the main chain. You can't prove that it's reliable and secure. You can't have it handle real money. You can only run it under test circumstances. With federated sidechains, you can run a federated sidechain that has hooks, and it can handle real money and people can use it. And not only have you deployed it in the real world immediately, But now when you make the case that it should be included in the main chain, you can prove that it works. You can demonstrate that it doesn't cause servers to crash or cause other problems. You can demonstrate that it's secure in a real working environment much, much faster.
Sounds very, very familiar. Doesn't it sound very, very similar? Sounds very, very similar to what Flare Networks is doing with the Songbird. That's what it sounds like, the Canary Network and that concept. That's what it sounds like to me, my friend. That's what it sounds like, right? And that, so the hooks portion of that is really, really cool. So, you know, with the federated sidechains and again, these hooks and stuff like this is what David is mentioning. People can come on here and test stuff in a real live, in a live environment with real money. That's the same thing that Songbird offers to Flare Network and other people as well that choose to do it. And so, yeah, it's very, very, very interesting. I'm going to play some more of this as well. And we all know that Ripple has been doing some things with the central banks and private essentially federated sidechains. So David's going to kind of drop some, kind of a bomb, mini bomb about that as well. And so I think that is really, 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 really cool. What's going on, Dan Robs? Great to see you. Crypto Siege, what do you think about the CFTC coming out and telling Gensler to slow his damn arm, bro? Commodities to include crypto and XRPL is not the SEC. Yeah, look, I thought it was outstanding, Dan. I really, really, I thought it was amazing. I really did. And it goes to show, I just love that the people from the CFTC called out Gary Gensler, right? Because they know that it's really politicking. It's the power grab. It's this thing of trying to stay relevant. And let us not forget that, these settlements that take place, so what, the SEC is using is the bullying past. They are bullying past reputation, right? And take advantage of that and that's why they keep everything in such a gray area, because they know that a lot of the times these things settle. The SEC builds their coffers through settlements. They give little to no money back to the people that quote unquote got harmed. So they build their coffers on these settlements. That's why they got 75 of them going on right now. So, and so I love that they said that about the crypto and, whether they're going to be commodities, and the CFTC is the only real platform that's had experience, agency in dealing with crypto. I think that's really, really cool. I think that they are saying that what makes you think that you're going to be the one, right? That's why to regulate this digital asset space. That's why the SEC keeps going in the securities space. That's why they keep saying, that's why it's so broad. So it's easier for them to put it in the securities basket. That's why they keep it so gray. That's exactly why they do it. So, and the other part of it, obviously, if that's how you build your coffers for your agency through these settlements. Yeah, pretty sad, pretty disgusting. And hopefully we can move from that madness. And I think we will. What's going on, Michael Angelos? It's great to see you. It is great to see you. Yeah, it's definitely a money grab. We have to stay together and not let Gary Gensler tear crypto to the ground. Where exactly? You're right, bro. Good to see you, Dan. It's great to see you, my friend. But you're exactly right about that. So very, very interesting. Let me get back over here to more of David Schwartz. Let him drop that bomb on you guys. Mini bomb.
In terms of application, how soon could we see federated sidechains on the XRP ledger?
Ripple's been focusing on private federated sidechains for central banks a lot because we think that's one of the most obvious immediate use cases. I think you'll probably see those in a couple of months. Whether or not central banks will actually use them, but the technology will be there. And then I think seeing real centralized federated sidechains to provide features like DeFi is probably more like 6 to 9 months away.
Alison, what was the reasoning to create a more inclusive work environment at Ripple?
Yeah, so about
6 to 9 months away. Now, you got to understand, they don't pull the cameras together and just haphazardly come out with these Ripple drops, right? It's very, very, very strategic. So 2 months, a couple of months for the central banks to have the ability, a couple of months, 6 to 9 months for the DeFi stuff. You see what's going on? Do you see what is going on? That's what they're trying to tell you. That's what they're trying to tell you. 6 to 9 months. Goodness gracious. That's 2022. Be interesting to see, what platforms decide to take advantage of these DeFi platforms, decide to take advantage of the federated sidechain scalability, low transaction fees. They're going to be running, in my opinion, to those federated sidechains on the XRP ledger. Running, tearing down the doors to get to it. My humble opinion. Where would you rather be? If you're the average Joe and the average Jane, where would you rather be? $5 to $10 transaction fees on Arbitrum or Optimism, or pennies, less than a penny. Who knows what it's going to be like on those ledger, but it's going to be in the pennies. Where would you rather be if you're the average Joe and you're the average Jane? What about the developers? The people looking to put these projects together. Don't you think that they want to be able to offer their community fast, scalable, low transaction costs? Where do you think the developers are going to go? Where do you think they're going to run? Yeah. No, Flare Network, sure. But when those federated sidechains and they can, look, it's gonna be an interesting space with Flare Networks and Ripple operating in the same space, because Ripple is going to be operating in the same space as Flare Network. They're not currently, right? They got the focus is on the payments, but with these federated sidechains, yeah. Big time utility. What's going on? Pay me money back. It's great to see you. Right. And so this is very, this is, to me, I always think of this as like this coordinated message, sending out a message. They don't have to do these Ripple drops. A couple of months. The dude said a couple of months. We'll see. Now between we'll see in a couple of months, but it's going to be interesting to see if in 2021 we get a central bank, or Ripple saying this central bank is, I don't know if they will or not. Will they say that we built this private federated sidechain for this particular central bank and they're using it? Will we hear a word of its success, how it's going? Will we get a word of that? Very, very, very interesting. So really, really, totally and completely excited about that. Let's listen to a little bit more. What's going on, XRP Rocket, man? It's great to see you, bro. That's interesting. I didn't know she built a CFTC. Dan, I think it's interesting, but that the CFTC came out and said this after Warren told Gary to answer her questions. She built the CFTC. So it makes me wonder if she pushed the CFTC. Interesting. Very, very interesting, bro. I want to hear about this Entwistle.
A year ago, just as the pandemic was kicking off, Ripple made the decision to create some new programming and a space to drive diversity and inclusion efforts throughout the organization to improve how we see differences and also to embrace those differences so people can do their best work.
What kind of initiatives have been implemented to create more diversity and inclusion?
So our diversity and inclusion efforts, I like to say that they're broken into kind of 4 different pillars. The first one being external. So this is how we showcase our brand and our efforts and how we tell our story. It's also how we recruit and showcase our diverse workforce. When we take a look at internal work, that's around kind of things like data collection. It might be around promotion cycles. It could also be within our hiring practices and ensuring that there isn't bias within that process. The 4th pillar is going to be around ERG activation, and employee resource groups are really our superpower here at Ripple. We have 7 of them. I'll go into them a little bit later, but really empowering them and ensuring that they're supported by our executive team. And last but not least would be capability building. And capability building is really partnering with our leadership and development team. That includes ensuring that we have diversity and inclusion as part of all of their existing programming, including our global leadership summit, our manager circles, and everything in between.
What's an employee research group, or ERG, and how many are there at the company?
So we're coming up on our 1-year anniversary for our 7 employee resource groups. And for those of you that aren't familiar, employee resource groups are employee-led groups. They volunteer on top of their day jobs to support our diverse communities. And we have 7 of them that each have an executive sponsor, and they run off what we call the 4C model. The 4 C's stand for culture, community, commerce, and careers. And that's to ensure that their work is really tied to our business initiatives.
Of the ERGs here at Ripple, which has the biggest opportunity to create sort of, an impact on the culture of inclusion here at the company?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, it's hard to answer because they all have great opportunity, right? But I feel like the real secret actually is our ABLE at Ripple ERG, and that focuses on all different types of disabilities or differently abled people. And that includes things like depression, things like invisible disabilities, like if someone has dyslexia, and really understanding how we can be better to support those individuals so people can bring their whole selves to work.
Ripple's a global company. How do you approach diversity and inclusion initiatives given the cultural differences and nuances that we see around the world?
That's a great question. When we take a look at diversity and inclusion programming, sometimes we do hear that feedback that this feels very US-centric, given the disparities that we see with underrepresented groups within the US. But we know that there's less than equal access for women globally when it comes to economic advancement, access to education, and everything in between as well, too. So what we do for our programming is we try to uncover the biggest opportunities within the regions outside of the US. So it could be something along the lines of, again, ensuring there's equal access for women in our international offices. It could be something along the lines of socioeconomic, recognizing socioeconomic differences within our Latin American presence, but ensuring, again, that we're really catering each of those programs.
Let's talk results. How have these initiatives created a more inclusive workplace and environment here?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. So we implemented what a lot of companies have done, nothing new, but it's what's called the Rooney Rule. And that ensures that we are taking a look at least 2 diverse candidates after a certain stage of the interview process to ensure that we're giving everyone a fair shot at our open roles. And that actually, we implemented that almost exactly a year ago, and we've seen significant increase in what we call hires that identify as underrepresented people. We've also seen significant increases in our promotion cycles, our last 3 promotion cycles, when it comes to promoting women, which is really exciting. So recognizing those efforts and ensuring that there's gender parity within our processes.
What are you most excited about regarding the future of these initiatives?
The biggest project that we rolled out in the first half this year was what we called the Global Self-ID campaign. And the Global Self-ID campaign allowed us to send out a survey to every single Rippler globally and ask all different questions around their identity to capture what our workforce demographics really look like. So it didn't so much focus on race and ethnicity like we traditionally do, but then also things like gender identity, sexual orientation, socioeconomic differences, so what's your highest level of education, and then also who raised you, what kind of household did you come from, disability status, veteran status, and then my favorite, caregiver status, because that's really important, because we know that caregiving has been a huge topic in this last year. I'm sure you understand as well too. We're wearing a lot of different hats as caregivers these days, so ensuring that we have our benefits in the right place when it comes to supporting that population.
Brooks, thanks for joining us. You have a really interesting background both in your career and outside the office environment. Talk us through what you did before you joined Ripple.
Thank you, Reinhard. It's great to be here today. I'm just super excited to be at Ripple and to tell you a little bit of my story here and what we're up to in the APAC region. I have been in Asia for 30 years, and it has been an extraordinary experience of building companies and experiencing life over that period, all of which really led up to deciding to take on this Ripple experience. But I spent the bulk of my early years at an investment bank at Goldman Sachs. I arrived in Hong Kong in 1991 when there were fewer people in that office running APAC than there were at the Ripple office in Singapore today. And over the next couple of decades in Hong Kong, India, and then in Singapore, I had the opportunity to be a part of a team there that really built out the region into the organization and the footprint that it is today. And it was an incredible experience scaling financial services across this growing and dynamic region. I had another experience in there, which was important to leading up to the Ripple role, which was to work at the UN in Cambodia for 2 years in the early 90s after leaving Goldman the first time and before returning back after business school. I served as a district electoral supervisor in northern Cambodia, in basically a war zone as the country was coming out of a terrible period in its history and before the UN had an election there, which was really my first experience of managing in super difficult environments, cross-cultural teams, and really working against the odds to pull off an election in a rural jungle environment. And then finally on technology, I was a tech banker at Goldman in both the US as well as in Asia during the first internet boom in the late 90s. And had the opportunity to really build that out across all these markets. And I always knew and was committed to the fact that if I could go in-house at one of these companies, exciting dynamic growth companies, I would do so. And did have the opportunity to join Uber as they were building out the region, building out APAC, and just had a fantastic experience building, scaling, working with regulators, launching countries, and actually eventually in some cases selling off businesses as the business grew, and then taking on an international role.
What things are most important to our customers in Southeast Asia?
We really kind of bring something that I think is incredibly valuable to this region. We need to jump on this opportunity of moving value, of moving money, of transacting across borders in ways that are fast, cheaper, more environmentally friendly, and most importantly, end up with the receiver on that receiving that value, receiving that money, that currency quickly in a way that they can get on with their life. And in many cases, we've seen during COVID, do so in times of deep stress or emergency, where the fact that we can move money faster and quicker and greener than anybody else matters to people's lives on the other end of that network. And there's a big remittance game, as you know, in the region. We really think about this region from the Middle East all the way to Japan and everything in between. So we have lots of senders in our region, and we have lots of receivers in our region, markets that are having this money flow back home, often from workers and people that are really putting in hours to get money back to their families in their home countries.
What kind of growth and momentum have you seen for our customers over the past year in the region?
We had 10x growth on RippleNet from a transaction standpoint in 2020, which is incredible. We've continued to build in the Middle East. We've continued to build in India, the Philippines, Thailand, Australia, you name it. And again, one of the things we think about is just how big the footprint is and how much more we've got to do. But the growth has been there. One of the things that someone told me early on was put yourself in the way of growth. No matter what you do in a career, put yourself in the way of growth, and everything else in some ways takes care of itself. And that's what we're doing here at Ripple in APAC. we're putting our teams and our technology in the way of exciting growth.
Singapore's office is quickly growing at Ripple. What does that growth look like?
We have a terrific office here in Singapore. First of all, this physical space is spectacular, and it's a great place to gather. And we were fortunate enough during most of COVID to be able to gather as a team. Not always, but that's been an important part of building out the office. And one of the goals I set for my first 100 days at Ripple was to fill 10 of those open slots and get people onboarded quickly. And we did just that. We've added across all functions in the last 100 days, from CPS to delivery to business development to sales. We've added a regulatory head, a compliance head, and we importantly have another 10 roles plus open. And really, as you think about it, what Singapore and this APAC headquarters will represent is really a microcosm of the Ripple headquarters as well, a representation of many of our functions projecting themselves and going after the opportunity here in the region.
So that is there, guys. Interesting stuff coming from this guy, Brooks Entwistle. Interesting name. Significant background there as well. So that is pretty cool. Yeah, what's going on, Jerry? Yeah, so that is interesting stuff for sure. Guys, health savings account, look into it. Really, really looking. Let me do something real quick. Let me see something. Yeah, I'll do this. I'll go over to my history and share what I listen to. Let's do that. My history sometimes can be, yes, this has on my phone history as well, so that won't work. Let me do this. Let me see, what did I save to my watch later? That thing is massive. My watch later is massive. Health savings account, guys, 3-pronged approach in terms of taxes. And also, so tax-free going in, tax-free while it's in, so it grows tax-free. That is really, really cool. And then tax-free coming out if you use it towards any medical expenses or blah, 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 the different categories that it covers as well. So that is really, really cool. But, you earn interest while it's in there. I do like that. And, I know I think it's great for someone who, they don't get, they don't have any health issues. They don't get to to the doctor often, right? Like for us, it's once, maybe twice a year, that type of deal. And so it'd be easier for us to set this up. And, you have these options of saving it to use it for medical stuff or just saving it. Oh man, it is not there. Okay. It's not there. So yeah, really, really, really excited about that. Let me see something here. If I got some other one, I could show you. No, not there. So I watched some stuff earlier today, but it's really, again, a 3-pronged approach. Fidelity has an HSA as well. Let me share theirs. Let me see. Let's go HSA account. There it is. Let me share this with you. Just real quick. House savings account is an individual tax advantage account available in conjunction with HSA, an eligible health plan, also known as a high deductible health plan, intended to pay for qualified medical expenses. For federal taxes, contributions are pre-tax, grows free of taxes, and are tax-free when withdrawn for qualified medical expenses. right? And so what I like about it, again, I gave that example of $500 in 2021, right? And expenses, I do like that, but I could take money on my HSA and pay for that, or I could let the money in the HSA grow 2022 and 2023 and 2024 and 2025. And for the expenses that I have, for example, in 2021, I could get those receipts and then I could go reimburse myself in 2025 if I wanted to, right? In other words, giving that money time to grow. So I do like that. Each state may decide to follow federal tax guidelines. Okay, there's it. So again, tax-free, pre-tax, and then the good thing is it reduces your taxable income as well. Right, it reduces the income as well. So the 2021 IRS contribution limit for the health savings account, $3,600 if you're single and $7,200 for family. If you're 55 or older during the tax year, you may be eligible for a catch-up contribution of up to $1,000. Your spouse, if age 55 or also older, could also make a catch-up contribution, but will need to open their own HSA. So, you know, it's, again, I like it because it's attached to medical, right? So to me, it has that added benefit. It's not just a financial product. Just like for us with our cash value, dividend paying whole life insurance policy, we got all the tax, you got the tax, you know, the tax benefits, right? You got the ability to borrow against your cash value, right? You got the dividends that come in, right? Tax free, and you got the death benefit. The death benefits as well that can be passed on and passed on and passed on, right? So other benefits to the financial product as well. So love to hear what you guys think about that health savings account. It's not the flexible spending account that a lot of people are familiar with. It's a totally different and separate thing. Jerry, one of y'all got some Voyager. Nice. I know Crypto Eddie was talking about that earlier today. Good for you, bro. Hello, Home-Based Income 101. It's great to see you. So guys, there it is there. I wanted to share the Ripple Hire with you guys, and also, you know, a little bit of Generational Wealth Wednesday on a Thursday. Health savings account. Google it, check it out, see if it's something that might be of interest to you. We're going to do it because we moved from a state from Virginia to Texas, and they don't have the same plans that they had there that they have here. And one of our options is the high deductible. Obviously, it's lower premiums for sure. And it has an HSA attached to it as well that you can use. And so we're gonna just take advantage of that for certain, and let that stuff grow. And if I find out about a way to get crypto with it, I'll let you guys know. All right, guys, listen, I'm going to wrap this thing up. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm going to end this video like I do all of my videos and remind you guys of this. That old money doesn't want you to win. But that's okay, though, because you and I are already winning. Have a great rest of the night, guys. I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.